All right, here we are back for episode number 2 of It's Not Black and White with Justin and Jacoby. Um, Honestly, I thought the first episode was great. We talked about, we introduced the title of the podcast, the meaning behind our logo, the intent, and then we kind of got into introductions of ourselves. Did a conversation about growing up in the same household with two different perspectives. It was awesome actually to see the feedback and the questions, the comments, and everything that everybody was saying. It was really cool.
Yeah, man, we got a lot of good feedback. I feel like I start out, yeah, man, or for sure. I need to stop doing that.
I
But
think it's okay.
we got a lot of good feedback on the first episode. Continue to give us feedback, whether it's criticism or not. We're here for it. We're trying to get everything all fine patched and tuned. Hopefully this one goes a little better with audio and whatnot. Probably video will screw up this time. I don't know. We'll kind of just play it by ear, and we'll kind of go from there. But I agree. I think the first episode went well. Can't talk about everything in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
We can talk about a few things.
Right, and we did have a couple challenges with the audio, like Justin said, and then getting on the major platforms. So it's still the Apple Podcast thing. It was kept showing up as an error, but it takes like 7 to 10 days to process the very first episode. So after that, I mean, hopefully by the time we put this out, it'll be up there. But
We'll
that was a major issue for
yeah,
sure.
it's actually annoying to me.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of people reach out, and I'm like, it's just Apple, bro.
I know.
Like,
It's
one
fun.
day.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, we appreciate everything. We've had plenty of people reach out to us. Continue to do so. We're gonna try and get something out weekly for now. My schedule is all screwed up. I'm like a 5-5-4, so 5 on, 5 off, 4 on, 4 off. So there's probably going to be weeks where we aren't able to get something out. And he's going to be in school soon, so it's really going to be busy. But we'll try at least weekly for now, and maybe bi-weekly if we get too busy and too caught up on certain things. But
yeah, for sure. And we could probably just get straight into this. So we're going to start off this podcast with probably one of the most glaring issues slash just say pandemics in our world with COVID-19. And I just want to start off with saying, just wear a mask, man. Just wear a mask. Look, nobody. It's not a norm to anybody, and I don't even know how to like. When I went to Asia, this is already a thing. Everybody's already wearing masks.
when did you go to Asia, though?
2016. 2016. And I assume that this was far before that, but that's they deal with all the emissions and pollution in the air and everything like that. But it's just a healthier way of living. I think that it can filter out a lot of things that come into our system. But it just comes down to the fact of even if it helps a little bit, why would you not?
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not going to wear a mask forever. Like, that's crazy. Like, to think, but obviously, yeah, I understand, and this is exactly what I was telling people earlier. Is even if it saves a life, honestly, like, to me, it's worth it. Like, it could be someone maybe it's not someone but it's someone that someone knows. So I mean, it doesn't really hurt us that much. It's an annoyance at times. Yeah, I mean, so is wearing pants, man. Like, no, literally. Like, my wife tells me to wear pants. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Let me wear joggers. But no, I mean, obviously it's annoying. No one likes it, but I mean, this is just the times we're in. No one likes the times we're in. We just have to adjust to these times and be safe. Even if we're helping out just a little bit, 1% even. I'm like, just help out. It's annoying that people really can't see that, and I know, but I mean, you'll talk about it probably. The media is obviously a huge, factor. But I mean, you can talk about that some if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's nuts whenever we get into the aspect of every issue in our life is kind of split down the middle, liberals, conservative. Either liberals agree with this, conservatives agree with that, and it's really weird. Even with the masks, like if you are for wearing masks and going out in public with masks, you're more than likely probably a liberal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying I'm for either one. I'm just saying if you're not for the mask, you're more than likely a conservative. It's just interesting how every issue is split down the middle like that, and it cannot be a coincidence. It has to be correlated with media. It has to be correlated with media. So it's like I don't know. I don't really watch or listen to CNN or Fox News. I dabble in different news networks to see what's going on in the world, but it has to be correlated with these major news networks because it doesn't make sense. They have to be pushing out something to emotionally manipulate their audience into just disagreeing with the other side.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's definitely a lot of it has to do with the media. And I'm not sure a lot of very many people even watch Fox News or CNN or whatnot. They just find a little media clip on Facebook and post it. That's just what they do. And whatever benefits them or their beliefs or their views, they post it. They don't really care, and they're all for it. And if someone posts something else, they're like, that's fake news.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, it's all fake news, probably, honestly. And it's tough because the media is all over the place, so we don't really know where or what to believe. But you can only do so much, and like I said, even if the media could say the masks will help 20% of people live or something like that, but even if it helps, like I said, 1%, just wear a mask. I mean, it's not going to be forever, hopefully, right? I honestly do think that the masks will be worn forever by some people. I think we will always see masks out there now. Not by everyone, and we might look at those people different, at one point in time. But it's honestly, it's really that easy. I know there's times where you're gonna be around friends and family, and maybe that's okay not to wear a mask. If no, I'm not saying it's not okay, but you're gonna go to your family's house and you're probably not gonna have a mask on most of the time. It's just where the world we live in. But if you're actually going out in public, it's really not that hard, honestly. You're not gonna be out in public for 8 hours. It's just go out in public for a couple hours at most, wear a mask, and you're gonna get in your vehicle probably multiple times during that time. You can take the mask off. It's so easy.
I think a big thing with all of this going on is you start becoming more conscious of the fact that the freedom of thought is being lost in social media. Nobody is actually. I don't think that people are actually critically thinking. I don't think that they're thinking about the situation. I think they see a headline, it could be a doctored video, and they immediately share it. There's several times where somebody will post something, and then somebody will actually read the article and then comment on it. Is like, do you actually know what this said? And they're like, well, blah blah blah. Just think about the situation and critically think. And then I read on Facebook, this woman, I don't even know who it was, to be honest. She said, okay, well, masks don't work. They need to supply us with the surgical masks because even if the masks work a little bit, it's not doing enough. So she claimed that the masks may help a little bit, but it's pointless because it's not helping enough.
Yeah, I mean, that
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, literally no sense at all.
If it can help a little bit, do it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think anyone knows exactly how much they help.
I don't think so either.
So, I mean, it's all annoying. The media is literally annoying. But I mean, we can only do as much as we're able to do to try and help out and honestly help people survive. So, I mean, what sucks is I guess it's most people, but I see it more, I guess maybe just because I'm not around the Midwest. I'm not saying it's just Midwest, but obviously I live here, so that's the people I come in contact with. Until someone is personally affected or personal, it's something personal to you, a lot of people just don't care about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure if I know, honestly. I know of people who have caught the disease. I've known of people in their family or friends who have been severely damaged or passed away from it. But I don't know anyone personally who has been severely hurt or passed away from it. So I'm assuming most people around the area, most people that I know around the area are like that as well. So that's why I don't see a lot of people maybe agreeing as much, and they don't think that it's as serious.
Right.
But
yeah, my friend Atlee, she got diagnosed with COVID positive test like a couple months ago, and she got pretty sick. But I mean, she didn't die or anything, but it's all good. She's good. I will say this, so I don't think that businesses should turn down people for not having masks. The reason why I don't believe they should turn them down is because I think that they should have them inside. I think that every business, it would be beneficial to their business to have a mask inside, especially since it's mandated. To turn somebody away is to turn away potential how much ever money they're going to spend in your business, and then whenever they could have just wore a 5-cent mask.
Well,
10-cent mask.
I think that most businesses had them in stock, at one point, or at least in the very beginning. And then once it became mandated and everyone was just, supposed to be wearing masks, I still think that most do have them, but obviously there are some that aren't. They just expect you to have a mask now.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have a mask, I don't see a point in you actually going into a store, because almost every store requires it, as they should, in my opinion. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely should.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
The guy came in Panda yesterday after me, and he didn't have a mask, so he pulled his shirt up like this, and they let him go.
I've seen that way too many times, and honestly, I guess that's better than nothing. I mean, if
I think so
it
too.
works, I mean,
it's no different than a cloth mask.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
doing
I
that.
mean, you look even more like a fool, in my opinion. Like idiot forgot a mask and is pulling a shirt. I mean, I guess it's worst case scenario, pull your shirt up and do that, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I also have. I think that good things are coming from COVID, in a sense. Obviously, it's allowing us to be more prepared for something like this in the future time. It sucks that we have to go through something like this, but we wouldn't prepare for this unless we actually went through it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, a few things we've learned. America is extremely dirty. I mean, I think we probably already knew that, but you don't realize it until, something like this happens. So, people didn't wash their hands. We go to casinos a lot. Like, those things are straight dirty, man. Like,
Dude.
Now it's kind of crazy that they'll take, every time a shift swaps, they're gonna sit there and wash almost everything.
Really?
Yeah, they
wouldn't.
don't wash the chips, so it really doesn't matter that much.
Nice.
We were there today and we saw a guy without a mask for the first 30 minutes, 45 minutes. He's like, "Oh shoot, I don't have a mask on."
You went there today?
Well, yeah. I said, we did. Yeah, we rode there. I don't know why you're doing that, bro. Like, we were both there today, and literally the dude next to, actually, Jacoby, didn't have a mask. I mean, he was still, like pretty socially distant, but he didn't realize it. No one actually realized it, and he was like, "Oh, I guess I need to put a mask on."
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's just going to be something we need to become accustomed to. Like, wear masks for now. It's not going to be forever. I don't know a timeline on it, but
I think the biggest issue with masks and COVID-19, not even masks, it's just COVID-19, is the media correlated COVID-19 to death, because the way that they initially rolled out everything and they pushed their headlines and the statistics. It's like the statistic they choose to use. Obviously, news, they focus on manipulating their audience, and they did it very well in the sense of, like I said, correlating it to death. Like, you have 5 million confirmed cases in the United States, 160,000 people dead.
I'm getting a little storm here, I guess.
Goodness. Which is obviously an issue. 160,000 people, like, that's a lot of people. But to just roll it out as if you have COVID, you're going to die. That's what that's how it was pushed out. And then it's just not the reality of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, and you have people, around here saying we should share the positives
Right.
of it, right? I mean, we know that there's an extremely good chance that you're going to survive, especially if you're not a part of the, age group that is, older, or the people who are more prone, like people maybe with asthma or whatnot, to, those other diseases or health concerns that you might have. Those people need to be more cautious, obviously. And if you aren't one of those people, I mean, you're more than likely going to survive. But we don't know what kind of issues down the line you might have, right? Like it really affects your respiratory system, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And who knows what kind of issues it might cause down the line. This is obviously our first go through with this,
Right.
so hopefully nothing too big, but honestly, who knows, right?
And then it's like the inconsistencies of the reporting, and everybody's freaking out because it's like, oh, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, you told us not to wear masks. Now you're telling us to wear a mask. Oh, 3-4 months ago, you told us it could be spread on surfaces or it could be spread in the air, and now you're saying it's not, blah, 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 back and forth, back and forth. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is science. That is science happening in current time. Things change. Discoveries are made. More information is known, and more information is unknown. You have known knowns, you have unknowns, and then you have unknown unknowns when you don't even know what it is at all. So it's like, what are we preparing for? They're just giving us mitigation factors that could potentially work.
Somewhat, right?
Yeah.
Like
So that could
some of it's science, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and others just lies and
For sure.
But like that's what we've gone over. Like the issue is we don't know what is actually the truth in the science. What they're actually figuring out, because they just throw gibberish out there a lot of the time.
As soon as they get one thing, they take it and run with it completely.
Yeah, I mean that's just the media, man. We're gonna have to deal with that for our entire lives. It's just the time we live in, right? Social media and the media itself they want to be the first one to report something. So even if it's not true,
it's still getting traffic.
big time, man. They don't care. I mean,
No.
obviously it makes them look bad, but hell, they
don't
all
care.
think they look bad now, so they don't really
Yeah,
care, man.
really.
They just run with it. So, the worst part of it is, right, like I don't think people realize it, but we're still, we're at like 1,100 cases, or 1,100 people are dying a day in America. And, that's an issue.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary. And how many cases are we getting a day?
I don't know.
I think it might, I don't know. What?
It have to be. If we're getting 1,000 dead, it'd probably be 100,000.
100,000. I think I had it written down. Maybe 160K cases. That might be too much. But there's probably 100,000 cases. I can't remember now. I had it written down somewhere. But yeah, still we need to try and figure out the problem. I think obviously a vaccine will really help. If anything, it'll help ease people's minds. In my opinion, you don't have to get the vaccine, whatever. There's people like that that's not going to get it. I probably will. There's maybe not the first dose. I don't know. But
I'm going to be
put a
forced
chip
to.
in us, right?
Yeah.
All the theories are going around. They're going to put a chip on us, as if we don't walk around with a chip in our phone
Literally,
all day
man.
long. We have our
Literally.
GPS on all day long, and I don't think that the government's going to be trying to just find Justin on an everyday basis with a chip in his body. I don't know. I'm going to have to be, vaccinated regardless, because I'm in the military. I get my flu shot every year. I have to do that.
Definitely.
Every season. But when it comes down to it, I believe that COVID-19 is going to become another form, actually a current form of natural selection. People are going to be able to withstand it. Some people aren't. And that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. I somewhat agree with it. But people will run with that and be like, well, then why don't
screw it.
Just no one wear masks, and let's let the people die that need to be dying. That's what people are going to say.
You're right. I could have worded that probably a little bit better.
No, for sure. Like I think I understand what you're saying, but it is a weird way to put it. So
So I think after the vaccinations come out, I think the world goes back to normal. I think it goes back to normal in the sense of it's going to be acceptable. Like, I think Walmart's going to be open 24 hours again.
Yeah, no,
I think masks will no longer be mandated.
I can agree with that. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be right after the vaccine. I think it'll be around that time. I honestly think we're looking like early next year, possibly maybe March of next year. I mean, if not sooner, but hopefully by that time, we're kind of, I'm not saying in the clear, but maybe we can see a light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, and maybe know where we're headed. But that's my opinion. I mean,
Question for you, Justin. So obviously we're NBA just came back, which is lovely to watch. Although the Lakers are not doing well, but it's okay. But how do you feel about sports coming back, like especially the NBA? Saw a lot of people begging to cancel the season because of the mass spread of COVID initially, still going on. And it really started to hit Florida this summer, where the NBA is at. So you see multiple cases in the MLB, multiple cases of NFL players and coaches. So do you consider a player or coach being diagnosed with COVID warranting breaking news? Like, is that actually a big deal as much as they're pushing it?
yeah. So to answer kind of your first question about sports, yeah, I think they do need to come back at some point. Not only is it like, I mean, it's been months. Like the world's gone. I'm not saying sports is, are the greatest thing in the world, but honestly, they put people's minds at like ease, and they help people chill out a little bit. They allow people to think about other things besides freaking out over every little thing that's going on in the world. So, and I'm not saying that's the reason we should bring sports back, but I think that it is a huge positive to bring it back. And if anyone watched the TBT, it's just the basketball tournament, the NBA is following a similar suit of that, where they have a bubble. And they just have this would literally beat the life, honestly, if you ask me. Like, if I was an NBA player or something like that, and you're living in a bubble, I don't know,
they're away from
family-wise.
they're not there. Family's not there.
So I mean, that kind of sucks, right? But it's not like they're there forever. They're for what, a couple months?
Yeah.
They're playing basketball, something that they obviously love to do, making millions of dollars doing it, and they're hanging out with like their best friends.
Yeah.
Just doing whatever. That's it. If all sports ran like that, ran like a little bubble, obviously football is going to be extremely tough. You can't really run a bubble, right? Because you're gonna, unless they cut the season down. Like I'm sure they're planning right now on the 16, 17 week season plus postseason afterwards. So, I mean, you can't run a bubble for 5 or 6 months with football. I mean, that's just half the year without.
That's not even realistic, anyways.
But baseball, I like that baseball cut their season down. It doesn't need to be that short, but they're not running a bubble, so they're going to run into issues, and we've already seen them run into issues.
But they're not like drastic issues, I don't think.
No, I mean, they're not drastic issues.
Delaying games and stuff.
I mean,
postponing.
Yeah, but that's just the start of it. Like they postponed the Marlins' third or fourth game of the season, and I think the same thing happened for like one of the Yankees games, like third or fourth game. That's pretty early, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably only going to get worse. So we'll kind of see how they handle that. I think they've handled it fine. Marlins are back in playing now, so that sport will be interesting. Football's going to be interesting. I think all sports need to play. 86 the fans, get rid of the fans. That's fine. Let's not have. I love saying 86. It's 86? Restaurant terms, baby.
86.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but get rid of the fans for a year. That's it sucks. We have a little brother.
I was gonna say we got Javante.
Yeah, a little brother that's obviously an athlete.
Are you concerned about his health?
I mean, yeah, but he's the one making decisions. He can be smart enough. If he's a young kid, like I'm more concerned about my wife's health and stuff, or my health, sure. or like he's gonna be fine for the most part, right? He just needs to be smart. But yeah, for him, like I'd wanted to go to a few games at least this year.
Right.
I plan on making trips. I don't care. Let him play. I don't need to go to any games. Let him play.
Yeah. And he needs to play.
Yeah, exactly. And for your last one, sorry, I'm rambling around on this one. With the coaches and players and stuff getting COVID, does it need to be announced? No. But like I said earlier, we live in a time
They
where
want to break the news.
literally it does. Everyone wants to break the news, so they're going to break the news.
Dude, and it's just another scare tactic, man. Like I remember, like there was a player in the NBA diagnosed positive COVID. This was before the bubble. No, I think it was actually whenever they made the bubble, people were already there. There were a few players who didn't go because probably they already had tested positive. Then when the news broke, like James Harden positive for COVID-19, it's like he's fine. He's posting on his Instagram, "I'm fine," and people are saying cancel the season. He's not even showing symptoms. Like, relax.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's that stuff's honestly so crazy, man. But like my biggest question, want to hear your thoughts on it, are schools, man. Like, what are schools? What do you think schools are going to do? And then sports within schools, like high schools. And so we kind of dabble on the college and pro teams, but what do you think about schools and stuff?
So when it comes to schools, I'm biased, but I'll speak from a couple different perspectives. So I go to KU. Right now, it's going to a hybrid where it's you get to choose online or in class, and the classrooms are going to be cut down to like 20% capacity, I think. I would love for them to just put it all online. I commute an hour every day to class, and if they keep it online, I no longer have to do that. And so the last few months of class this semester or this spring semester and summer were absolutely amazing. I saved like $550 a month on gas and oil changes. So from that perspective, I pray that they switch it to online. From the perspective of not biased with that, I think that being in classroom is okay. I just don't. I don't feel extremely like the threat of COVID-19. I know it's probably a privilege of mine because I haven't had it or I haven't known anybody to die from it or be significantly ill. But my privilege is in the way of me seeing it as a very threatening virus. So for me to give an opinion that classrooms should be shut down, maybe just because the ignorance, like everybody's ignorant on this topic because there's not enough information. Our health organization, I think, has a lot of ignorance when it comes to this virus as well. They just not enough known information, the spread of it, the longevity of it. It's tough to say. Like if we're gonna shut down colleges, I mean, schools, we need to just continue to shut down everything then.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough. I think it's really tough for schools to figure out what they're going to do. My wife's obviously a school counselor. I pretty much just agree with what she's saying right now, but because I shouldn't have as much as input into it because I'm not really involved, honestly. What?
Nothing.
No, I'm just saying, like, for me, like, I'm listening to teachers and what they have to say.
What are they saying?
Well, I mean, obviously teachers are scared for themselves, right? I mean, and they should be. And obviously my wife would be too. I don't know what they should do, and I don't think they should have every kid go back to school. I do think they need to give the online option. I think that we should possibly at a half and half. And if we want to switch a semester, switch a semester. I think that high school sports can happen. They just got to be extremely cautious. My only issue is you can't have every kid go back. I mean, there's going to be kids that are, more prone to getting or more prone to, falling down the wrong path if they do get the disease. So obviously you got to take into account those kids. There's not going to be a ton of them, but there's going to be some. So they're already going to have to go online, or I'm sure they'd rather be online. I know kids as parents, that are going to have issues if their kids go to class. And then you also, you throw in the factor that a lot of these parents need to work, so they can't stay home with their kids.
Right.
It's a tough issue, man.
Honestly, what kills me is both of us, we have the privilege right now of not even considering the impoverished kids that don't even have the technology to take online school, that can't go back to school because of COVID. They got to go home. Like there was a girl I was talking to a few months ago, and she told me she's a teacher in a very low class school. And whenever COVID hit, she had 25 kids in her. She's taught second grade, I think. She had 25 kids in her class. Only 5 of them were able to take classes online.
Wow, that's
20
great.
kids.
Wow.
that are going to be so I think she teaches first grade actually. 20 kids that are going to be expected to show up to second grade when they only did half of first grade.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't think about that just because we're not in that situation, and that hardly anyone thinks about that, right? I mean, that sucks. I do think that schools, if they require, the online stuff, they obviously need to be able to provide that assistance. But then you also kind of go down the same path with kids that are less fortunate. A lot of kids rely on school meals and stuff too.
Yeah.
Man. That's even more important than being able to log in and do your work, I guess. In my opinion, you have to eat, you have to survive. Man, that's extremely unfortunate. We just don't think about that enough.
And so, yeah, it is ridiculous. But ultimately, the last thing I'm gonna say on the mask question wise for you, I'm gonna say, do you think it's selfish to refuse to wear a mask?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we both probably think that America is selfish, man. I mean, that's just the American
way.
It really is, dude. There's always a couple things I always say about American man. They're selfish, they're greedy, and they don't have any patience. that's literally
That's gonna be a quotable.
Yeah, literally, most of that's me too. So I mean, no, but
I think that's.
Well, it's just because we don't think about
that's our society.
We don't put ourselves in the worst situations. Mm-hmm. We don't think about others as much as we should.
Right.
I mean, it's just the way it is, man. It's
the way it is.
We need to think more honestly. So, and think about others and be more appreciative of what we have. Help more if we can. If we're able to provide and help, provide assistance, go ahead and do that. Why not? We just don't do that enough. And maybe one day we will, So, yeah. I mean, we'll go over one more topic real quick.
I mean,
it's kind of a long one.
Yeah, it's been long. I think that it's extremely important though to focus on these shortcomings that we have as a country, and with that being said, I kind of want to shift gears into another suitable topic in today's age, and it's really the kneeling standing debate.
Oh boy!
Which continues to plague our country, which is crazy.
It's literally the exact same thing, bro. Like you just said, conservatives and liberals, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? Like how
insane.
Literally every single stance is divided in half.
If you're kneeling right now, you're a liberal.
Literally.
If you disagree with the kneeling, you're probably not a liberal.
I think it's so crazy.
I'm not saying you're not. I'm saying you're more likely to.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, it's so crazy, dude. Like, oh man.
Because I heard the perfect like definition kind of how to determine if you're a liberal or conservative. So like a liberal would be a person who is more fearful of the internal society destroying itself. Therefore, they're more prone to people's rights. They're more prone, not rights, rights really. So like when it comes to like equality for all, like gay people getting married, stuff like that. Now, if you're a conservative, you're more fearful of an outside source destroying your society. Which is why they're more prone to the borders. They're more prone to anything foreign, different, like anything different than what has started our country and everything. They're more fearful of that destroying the society.
No, I mean that I wouldn't say sums it up perfect, but it's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah,
I can see it. Some will agree, some won't agree with it. So.
If you don't agree, I'm interested to have a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
To see your thoughts on it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So I think I carry an interesting perspective when it comes to the kneeling and standing, because a lot of people on Facebook or in the media love to throw around that it's disrespecting the troops, disrespecting the military.
This is what I'm ready for.
I love it. Disrespecting the military by kneeling, because several people fought and died for that flag, this country, etc., etc. You can't generalize a group of people when I don't agree with you. Don't be a person who's not in the military and go throw that around on Facebook, because if I see it, I will confront you, because I do not feel disrespected by kneeling. And This is the biggest reason I don't feel disrespected by kneeling is because I think it was after kid in Baltimore, I think, or maybe it was the kid in St. Louis. God, I can't even think of their names.
Michael Brown.
Michael
St.
Brown.
Louis.
After Michael Brown happened in St. Louis, there were a lot of violence and anger from people around our country. Not as much as today, but it was happening a lot in that time. And I remember vividly people saying, "Why do you have to protest with destruction? Why do you have to do this? If it was a peaceful protest, I would respect it." Well, Colin Kaepernick, guys, ladies and gentlemen, Colin Kaepernick took a knee, and he was blackballed from the country. Not only conservatives. Colin Kaepernick was blackballed from everybody. I will admit I was not agreeing with what Colin Kaepernick was doing because, like I said in the last episode, the execution of your message matters just as much as the message. And Kaepernick did not execute his message well, in my opinion. But
why?
Because Colin Kaepernick did not execute his message well because there was no organization behind his kneeling. He didn't go out and acquire the support that he needed prior to making this bold move. Can you imagine Martin Luther King walking down a highway by himself?
Yeah, but those situations are way different, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're definitely different.
Yeah. I mean, I somewhat agree. I don't know if he obviously didn't have a full plan or anything, but I think that I don't know, man. I kind of liked it. I liked people. I think that he really went in just hoping, he would get a lot of people's eyes on him, and that it would be something that everyone would talk about, whether they liked it or not.
Yeah,
and I think that was his initial plan.
They did, but the problem was even people that agree with him today didn't agree with him because they didn't even know what the hell was going on. They had no idea what the hell was going on, and then he started like trolling the police, which was actually, it was pretty funny, to be honest, in my opinion, when he was wearing like pig socks and stuff. Like people were bashing him for that. I'm like, okay, relax. It is like stupid, but okay. But like, I just think that I'm not, like, a lot of people say he could have went about it a different way. I'm okay with the kneeling. I love that. I wish he would have, like, for example, I wish he would have talked to the military guy prior to it, whenever he's the guy who mentioned he should kneel. Because imagine if he took this kneel and then everybody's bashing him, saying disrespect the military, and then he's like, well, here's this interview or conversation I had with this man in the military who told me I should do this.
No, you know what? Imagine if, the military men and women who maybe brought out the flag that day.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if he talked to them and had them kneel to it. Like, that would have been absolutely wild.
That would have been nuts.
Like, I wonder how America would have reacted to that.
Dude.
I don't know. It would have been interesting. And I love this conversation because I would never condemn somebody kneeling for the flag.
Yeah.
I would never condemn somebody for
peacefully protesting.
No.
Especially peacefully protesting.
It's literally only because, well, I'm not saying it's only because of flag. Because I don't think that's true.
No,
like,
it's not.
It's because they're protesting.
Yeah.
Like, the flag adds in a little bit, I guess, that people just
They just took something and ran with it.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, in my opinion, the national anthem doesn't even need to be played before sporting events.
Yeah, when did they introduce that?
I don't know, but I've
mid-2000s.
always been a... Listen, I love the military. I do. I support our troops big time, obviously. But I never found a reason to play it before every sporting event. I never did. And, some of you are probably going to get mad at me right here. But when the national anthem played during, like, football, you couldn't really get out of it. Like, everyone's out there.
Mm-hmm.
It used to play, when I was in high school, usually, I think, like, before a girls' basketball game or whatnot. I wouldn't go out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd literally, if I knew it was coming, I'd go to the locker room. Because we've heard it enough. I feel like, do we have to hear it every time? Like, in my opinion, I don't think I need to hear this every single time. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. No. I understand, like, big time sporting events, Super Bowls and stuff, like, that's fine. Postseasons, I guess that's fine, but I don't see a point in it in us playing it before every sporting event.
I heard the national anthem 3 times in one night
Yeah.
at a basketball tournament.
Exactly. Like
That is unnecessary.
Yeah, and listen, the kneeling with Colin Kaepernick, it's obviously turned into something much larger now. Almost everybody in every sport is, well, I wouldn't say almost everybody, but a lot of people in the sports are kneeling and are standing together and sticking together. And I think, maybe not everyone agrees with it. We've seen some stand still, and that's fine. I honestly think as long as they voice their opinions, voice maybe why they're standing, also let their brothers and sisters or players, know that they have their back.
Right.
They're against, racism. They want equality, and continue to voice that. We've seen a few players stand and they've said why they're standing. Some I don't agree with, some I do agree with. Obviously, that's everyone's going to agree and disagree here and there. So
there was a couple of them. So Myers Leonard, he was standing wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt. I loved it. I loved it because
that's totally fine.
I'm okay. Like, if you stand for the anthem, like,
yes.
I stand for the anthem. I stand for. I had to, but still, I still would.
No, I've never not stood for the anthem.
I still would.
I still put my hand over my heart.
Right.
I still do.
I put my hands behind my back, but
right.
Myers Leonard stood, and he was like having his hand on his players that are kneeling while wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt, like showing that, okay, I understand what this country has done for me and what this country has done for a lot of people. And I also want to show you that I support the struggles that you and your people have gone through. I think that was an excellent message.
Yes.
Now on the flip side, Jonathan Isaac, what are you doing? What are you doing? You look like an idiot. You remind me of the Hodge twins.
No, don't say that, bro.
You remind me of.
Oh no.
You remind me of Candace Owens.
Oh.
You remind me of Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock probably loves you. This is what I'm gonna say. Jonathan Isaac, he's probably 23.
He's young. He's very young. I don't think he's that old.
Maybe that old.
I think he's probably 21.
Maybe. He plays for the Orlando Magic. He is a Black American.
I'm sure most people have seen it. A lot of people post
probably
stuff.
have not. So a lot of people actually love him probably.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people
His jersey
post.
sales spiked. So this black man, he stood during the anthem, okay, and decided to not wear a Black Lives Matter shirt. So I see that as you're countering whatever, like, you're taking a stand against Black Lives Matter. Like, that's what I would view that as. I don't know how you can view it as anything different, to be honest, at first glance. But give you the benefit of the doubt. I didn't give you the benefit of the doubt. A lot of people did. For you to explain yourself. So you go to explain yourself to Taylor Rooks, is that her name?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's something like that. And she asked him why he decided to stand and to not wear a shirt. His explanation is because his Black Lives Matter, wearing a shirt doesn't do anything for the progress of Black lives. Okay, Jonathan Isaac.
That's true.
It does, actually. I would disagree and say that that is completely wrong.
You don't think it? You think it does something for Black lives? You think it would do something for Black lives?
Yes.
What?
What I believe it does, it creates unity. It creates an image of hope and strength in numbers. And it also, by him countering it, people that idolize this man, young black kids that idolize this man, are very confused. They're very confused. And then when you make the issue of that doesn't do anything to progress us, like even if it did nothing, our community is trying to make a positive image going forward. What are you doing countering that? And then to say it had to do with your religion. He said his religious views don't go hand in hand with I don't know. I could not understand his message. It was like he was saying that there's an issue, it should not be a human's job to fix it. It should be God's job to fix it. So you fix the relationship with you and God, then the issue will change.
Oh boy,
dude, what the hell are you saying? I can't fathom it. And then the people that are using this as their excuse to counter Black Lives Matter is so sickening to me.
Well, it's any time a black person is on their side, they literally just run with
it up.
Literally, like I'm saying, the conservatives, as you could say, will eat it up, man, and just run with it. Whether it's literally the most wrong thing. You mentioned two people earlier, like, that's so funny. Like
Candace and the Hodge twins.
I'm not gonna
the Hodge twins.
But I'm not really gonna get into it. But it's literally crazy, man. Like, oh, Jonathan Isaac, I'm not gonna talk anymore about you because I don't think you deserve it. And man, you probably won't be talked about the rest of the season. Honestly, there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that a lot of people get upset, at the kneeling and stuff. I think just the lack of knowledge. They just need to listen and learn. And we talked about a lot of this last week, obviously. Listening is a big part of it. And if you're not willing to listen, you're never going to learn. And they just haven't put themselves in the shoes of a lot of any. They've never been in that. Never been in the shoes of a black person, so they don't really know, and it's just racism, man. It's never going to be fully gone, and so as we can see, like, people are always going to be against the kneeling. I'm just rambling. Literally, I'm losing my train of thought. So
I think a big like whenever you always talk about like people don't have to experience it, it's just a privilege, Like I don't use the term white privilege, because I think that it can easily be taken as a very negative way or be hijacked in a way of like that I'm attacking the white community. But I'm not in any sense, so I wouldn't call it. I think it's just a privilege. For example, earlier I said I have the privilege of not knowing anybody that's died from COVID. Therefore, that experience is not firsthand to me.
Yep.
A lot of people have the privilege of not being black in America.
Yeah,
and
no.
I think that's a privilege, and I have the privilege of not growing up in a third world country. I'm perfectly okay with that privilege.
Yeah.
But I acknowledge it, and therefore I would maneuver differently around different cultures.
So I know that this has been talked about a lot, or at least a little bit, and I actually want to hear from you guys on this as well. But I'm going to ask you, if you wanted to choose another way to protest, how do you think you would go about protesting? Do you have an idea of how you would protest? I know that you've talked about organizing protest in the past, and I'm sure you will in the future, but what would be your way of protesting if, police brutality, racism?
If it persists?
Yes.
This form is a big way of my protest.
What form?
Podcast.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think it's a way that I can definitely influence a lot of people, especially as we continue to gain more traffic. But when it comes to protesting, I think...
Well, what do you think, like big time people, like, not saying, maybe we'll get big time. No, but like athletes or people that are in the spotlight all the time, celebrities or whatnot, if they have, how should they go about protesting if, if kneeling isn't the thing?
So the biggest way to protest, the most effective way to protest is to find the privilege and take the privilege away. The way you take the privilege away is bringing the experience to people. Therefore, when the black community is crying out for help, and then the black community plus a lot of white people and a lot of other people of color, they cover highways, cover streets. I think that is extremely effective because it forces people to notice. It forces them to notice.
Yeah.
When it came to, so I don't like what people correlating looting and fighting to protesting, because it hijacks the situation. When it comes to like destruction and stuff, like I don't want people to cause destruction. I don't condemn it.
Yeah,
either.
I don't think most people do.
No, I don't condemn it.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah, I don't think most people want them to cause it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that most people are on the same,
I agree.
But I'm with you.
Yeah.
I don't condemn it either.
I don't condone it, nor do I condemn
Correct.
it. I don't condemn it. People are gonna be like, "So you're okay with him destroying shit?" No, I'm not okay with him destroying shit. However, I have no right to tell somebody how they should feel. I'm not gonna invalidate somebody's feelings, and by groups of people constantly invalidating feelings, that anger is built up, and that anger is going to be pointed somewhere. I would rather have that anger pointed at an empty building vice a group of people. The empty building is actually going to help the owner of the business. So, whatever. But when it comes down to the protesting, I can't condemn that because it is bringing the issue to the forefront. And if you're not going to actually hurt somebody or destroy somebody, kill somebody, then I don't condemn it. I don't condone it. I don't condemn it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Obviously, no one wants destruction to happen in any of the cities, but honestly, when something is happening for so long, you can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, the peaceful protest is not working.
All right.
I mean, what's going to happen? You're just not going to have peaceful protesting. Like, it's going to become destructive because the peaceful protesting is not working.
Really?
If we had people, or I don't want to put this all. I mean, it sucks, man. Police officers are obviously going to get a bad rap,
Yeah.
and they probably should.
Mm-hmm.
But not every police officer is like that.
No,
So it's
hell no.
extremely. But not every protester is out there destroying things either. Like it goes hand in hand. Like it's weird because here you go, you're 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
The liberals will be like, well, you have to look at the Black Lives Matter the same way you look at police officers.
Mm-hmm.
Not every Black Lives Matter is bad, but Black Lives Matter person is bad. And then like the conservatives will be like, well, you guys see how the Black Lives Matter is doing it. Now the police officers, like it's literally like they just put it like to on their side, to make their side look better. It's kind of crazy.
I hate that. Like,
whenever you say, okay, don't blame a few protesters for what the protest is about, and then the counter argument is don't blame a few cops for what the whole. That is not a fair argument. The reason why it's not a fair argument is because protesters are normal civilians that do not have
choice of their color.
No, not even choice of color.
Okay.
I'm saying they don't have like they're not a part of an organization. They're civilians. A cop is a part of an organization where accountability should happen. People that are protesting and doing this, they will be arrested.
True.
If a police officer kills somebody wrongfully, they should be arrested. It should not be administrative leave. It should not be suspended and then, you can go apply at a different police force. Hold them accountable. Like, hold them accountable, and so many problems change. When you have a guy who has been not charged, but who has wrongfully handled civilians in the past on multiple occasions, and then all of a sudden 10 years later you're seeing him blowing up on social media for killing somebody. Why the hell is he still on the force?
Yeah.
Like that is ridiculous. Like, we in the military, we have more, like, dude, in a foreign country to not American people, we have way more stricter rules about engaging them.
Sure, yeah.
So why the hell against our own people are we so quick to want to cause violence to them
Yeah, I honestly have no idea.
with no
And
accountability.
yeah, you're exactly right. I honestly, to this day, I do not understand how literally every police officer. Are you leaving?
No.
Oh, how every police officer. What are you doing?
I'm checking the time on this.
Oh. I mean, I can see mine.
Okay.
But anyway, I mean, maybe we'll edit that out. I don't know. But I literally don't understand to this day how every police officer doesn't have like a body cam. I literally thought that
Funding.
I thought that was going to be a rule like 10 years ago.
Well, President Obama had mandated it in multiple cities, but a lot of cities don't have the funding.
I literally cannot believe that.
But we should take the funding away.
I had. Yeah.
Another podcast.
Yeah,
Another podcast.
don't be doing that, bro. like, oh Lord.
Another podcast.
Bro. Yeah, man. I mean, I guess I can throw one more question at you and just ask you: Do you plan on organizing any kind of? I'm not saying like protest, but any. I mean, do you have any plans of organizing any kind of meetups or anything like that in the future? If this stuff continues on, I don't know.
Yeah. Short answer, yes. Explanation, I will run for political office. The only political office I'll run for is presidency. And because I can spark the most influence that way. Even if I don't win presidency, I will definitely be a heavy influencer to the American people.
I don't think that you should say the only political office spot you'll run is for presidency, because I mean we never know what's going to happen.
That's true.
And
I can't just say that.
yeah, and maybe
That's
one
the only
spot.
forefront of my mind.
Yeah, maybe one spot will get you to that spot one day. You know what I'm saying? So, no, man, that's solid. I don't know if you have anything for me, but that sounds good to me, bro. Like,
yeah, dude.
are you good? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we can wrap it up. I mean, we've been going like around 50 minutes now.
Yeah. If we can keep it to like 45
Yeah.
to 55 minutes, we don't want to go too far over or anything like that. We've got other like topics and subjects and stuff to talk about, but we don't want to just ramble on too. I rambled on a lot this.
So did
I.
I.
Like this, yeah. So
It's passionate topics, and I love talking about it. Justin loves talking about it. We look forward to what you guys have to like. I got a lot of comments from you guys sending me direct messages, asking me questions that I still want to address. But I appreciate the interaction. I'm looking forward to more of it in the future.
do you think that we'll have interviews soon, or be interviewing someone on the podcast soon? How many episodes do you think?
Yeah. So I think as a duo we'll discuss this more, but I think that us getting it off the ground first was very important before we introduce anybody else into it. And we're going to be reaching out to multiple other podcasters or news networks, etc., so we can spread our influence and get our names out there.
Yeah, man, that sounds good. I'm excited, ready for it. I've had people reach out to me, and I've reached out to other people too. I know that I want to have on the podcast. They want to have us on their podcast. So, yeah, man, it's gonna be good. Second episode, not too bad. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll kind of go from there, man.
Sweet.
All right.
Wrap it up.
All right, peace, bro.
Later.